Welcome to Exposed and Broken YouTube channel. We uncover the secrets of love, betrayal, and
It all
the
started with
choices
a
that
Facebook
change
notification
everything.
I almost ignored. One of those little red dots on the top right of my phone. Just a friend request. From someone I didn't recognize, Haley Saunders. We had a few mutuals, a couple of people from the neighborhood, someone from my job, even my wife's friend Kendra. That last one made it feel harmless. A friend of a friend. Maybe someone from the school my daughter went to, or a parent from a birthday party I forgot I attended. I accepted the request. Didn't think twice about it. 30 seconds later, I got a message. Hey, I know this is really weird, but I need to tell you something important. I think your wife is having an affair with my husband. I stared at the screen. My brain didn't register the words at first. I read them again, slower. The words landed like bricks. I just caught them. In my house. In my bed. Together. I was holding my daughter when I walked in on them. My mouth went dry. I blinked. Sat down slowly at the edge of the couch, still wearing my jacket. My hands started shaking, fingers going cold. The room suddenly felt small, the air too thick to breathe. No way. I reread the message. Again, your wife, Alyssa, right? I know her. She's friends with my friend Kendra. That's how she knows me. I thought we were friends too. I'm sorry. I didn't know how else to tell you. My pulse thudded in my ears. Alyssa, my wife. My Alyssa? No. She was at an expo. I had dropped her off just this morning at Kendra's house. They were supposed to be heading out of town for the weekend. Girls' weekend. She even kissed me goodbye, told me to be safe with the kids, promised to bring me back a t-shirt from one of the booths. I stood up too fast and nearly fell. My heart was hammering. I rushed to the door and grabbed my keys. Kendra's house wasn't far. 10 minutes, maybe 12 with traffic. As I drove, I replied to the woman. Are you sure? Like, absolutely sure it was her. The bubble popped up immediately. Yes, I saw her. I yelled at them. She tried to say it wasn't what it looked like, but she was naked under the sheets. My husband, too. My baby was in my arms. I will never unsee that. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. I remembered pulling up to Kendra's earlier. I didn't get out of the car. Alyssa told me not to, said they'd be rushing to get on the road. But I remembered something now. A truck parked down the street. Big, dark blue, lifted, tinted windows. I barely noticed it then, just another vehicle on the block. But now it stuck in my mind. As I took the next turn, I messaged Haley again. Is your husband's truck dark blue? Tinted? Lifted? Her reply came fast. Yes, that's his. You saw it? I didn't answer. My knuckles whitened as I tightened my grip on the steering wheel. I pulled into Kendra Street. The truck was gone. I parked, sat there for a moment. My mind raced. What if Haley was lying? What if this was a mistake? A setup? But deep down I knew. Like I already knew. The quiet instincts that had been trying to tell me something for months were screaming now. I walked up to the door. Knocked. Once. Twice. Harder. Kendra opened the door, half a smile forming until she saw my face. Hey, Jack. What's wrong? Where's Alyssa? Her smile faltered. She's inside. She's in the shower. I pushed past her. She followed me, trying to say something, but I wasn't listening. I stopped in the hallway. Alyssa wasn't here. The guest room door was open, the bed made, shower not running. Empty. I turned to Kendra. Where is she? She looked nervous now. They left already. Who's they? She didn't answer. I stared at her. Haley messaged me. Told me what she saw. Told me what just happened in her house. Kendra froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked away. You knew, I said, voice trembling. You knew, and you helped her lie to me. She didn't say anything. Just turned away like a coward. I walked back out the front door, pulled out my phone, and called Alyssa. Straight to voicemail. I called again. And again. Nothing. I texted. You're caught. Don't lie to me. No reply. I know where you were. I know who you were with. I saw the truck. I spoke to his wife. She caught you. Still no reply. I sat in the car, engine off, phone in my lap. The silence was suffocating. The screen lit up. Typing. Then it disappeared. Then again. Jack, it's not what you think. I laughed. Loud, sharp, bitter. You were in bed with another man. How exactly am I supposed to think about that? She replied after a pause. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. The street was empty when I pulled back up to Kendra's house. The truck was gone, like the whole thing had never happened. Just vanished, wiped clean from the scene. Except I knew better now. The truth had already taken root, and it was growing in every direction, choking everything I thought I knew. I parked at the end of the block and sat in silence. The sun was setting. That strange golden hour light stretched long across the houses, like it was spotlighting a life I no longer recognized. My phone buzzed. It was Haley again. Did you see it? Was the truck there? I replied quickly. Yeah, it was. It's gone now. Then I added, are you sure? I mean, absolutely sure it was my wife. There was a pause. Then her reply hit like a hammer. Jack. I walked in on them. My baby was in my arms. They were in my bed. She didn't even look guilty, just scared of getting caught. I closed my eyes. My throat tightened, nausea curling low in my gut. She said it wasn't what it looked like, Haley continued. Tried to throw the blanket over herself and stammered something about just talking, but I could smell sex in the air, Jack. I could feel it. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Instead, I tried calling Alyssa again. No answer. Straight to voicemail. I texted her. You're caught. Don't lie. No reply. I stared at the screen, my reflection in the glass barely visible in the fading daylight. I felt the rage start to simmer, not just anger at her, but at myself. How many times had I trusted her without question? How many girls' nights, coffee dates, and quick errands were really just cover for this? Typing. Finally, her bubble appeared. Jack, what are you talking about? Gaslighting. The first line of defense. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Haley, her husband, you, in their house, in their bed. She waited nearly a minute before responding. This is ridiculous. I don't know who that is. I wasn't at anyone's house. I'm with Kendra. Line number 1. She wasn't with Kendra. I'd been there. Walked inside. Kendra barely looked me in the eye. The guest room was untouched. Alyssa wasn't even in the damn house. I was just there. You weren't. The truck was outside earlier. Haley described everything, even your necklace. You were there. Are you seriously believing some random woman on Facebook over your wife? Line number 2, that Haley was just some crazy woman making things up? She didn't just message me. She walked in on you. You were naked, in her bed, with your friend's husband, and our daughter wasn't even with you. She was with me. You've been lying to me, Alyssa. There was no reply, just silence. I stared at the screen. My fingers hovered, trembling. My body felt like it wasn't mine anymore, like I was watching from a distance as this version of myself unraveled. Another message popped up. Okay, calm down. You're overreacting. There it was. Deflection. Don't gaslight me. Just tell the truth. Again, a long pause. It only happened once. Today. I swear. How long? Today. That's it. I didn't plan it. Line number 3. That this was spontaneous. I leaned back in the seat, exhaling through gritted teeth. I thought about all the time she had taken our daughter over to Kendra's. Said they were having sleepovers. How I was working late, trying to cover bills, and she was bonding with the girls. I remember the night 2 months ago when our daughter came home with one of his shirts in her bag. I asked about it. Alyssa laughed and said it must have gotten mixed in with laundry. My stomach twisted again. You've been using our daughter as an excuse to sneak around. No, Jack, that's not what I did. Please stop twisting this. You stayed at that house with him, while our daughter was sleeping there. What kind of mother does that? Finally, the wall cracked. I didn't mean for it to get this far. How long, Alyssa? A few months. So not just a day. No. And not just once. No. There it was. The truth. Or a small piece of it, at least. Dragged out word by word like teeth being pulled. I sat still for a long time. I didn't reply. I stared out the windshield, watching the last rays of sunlight fade into shadow. All the excuses, all the strange behavior, the girl nights, the guarded phone screen, the way she flinched when I touched her lately, it all made sense now. The story had been writing itself for months. I just hadn't wanted to read it. Eventually, another message buzzed through. It was a mistake. I was lonely. You're always working. I felt like a single mom, even when you were home. The blame shift. So you punish me by destroying our family? It wasn't about punishment. I felt something again. Like I mattered. The words felt like acid on my skin. You do matter. You're the mother of my kids. You're my wife. You mattered every damn day. I worked myself into the ground so we could live. So you didn't have to work. So you could stay home. And you used that freedom to sneak around with another man. No reply. Where's the money, Alyssa? My bonus. My paycheck. Where did it go? I needed it. For what? I just used it. Some bills. Some stuff we needed. And some for me. I could feel the blood draining from my face. I had trusted her with everything. And she'd bled us dry while feeding me lies. I thought about our kids. What the hell do I tell them? How do you explain to a 5-year-old that their mother chose someone else over the family she already had? I stared at her last message. My hands clenched on the steering wheel, but I stayed put. I didn't drive home. I didn't go back to Kendra's. I just sat there, watching the last traces of light slip away. Inside me, something had gone quiet. Not the quiet of peace, the quiet of something breaking and not coming back together. A death of trust, a collapse of whatever love I thought we had left. The phone buzzed again. I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. You didn't just hurt me. You destroyed us. No reply. I put the phone down. For the first time in my life, I felt like a ghost inside my own skin. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, numb, suspended in the hollow space between betrayal and whatever came next. The house was dark when I finally got home. Not quiet. Our son's cartoons echoed from the living room, but empty in a different way. The kind of emptiness that screams when you realize someone had been slowly removing bricks from your foundation without you noticing. My mother had picked up the kids earlier that day, so I assumed she dropped them back off at some point. Alyssa was still gone. Good. I didn't want to see her. Not yet. Our son, Tyler, looked up from the couch with wide eyes and a bowl of cereal in his lap. Hey, Daddy. Hey, bud. My voice cracked like a stranger's. Where's your sister? In her room. Mommy said she was tired. Of course she did. I walked down the hallway and peeked into my daughter's room. She was curled up in her bed, the glow of her nightlight painting soft orange shadows across the wall. Peaceful, innocent, unlike the storm ripping through my chest. I sat in the kitchen and pulled out my laptop. I needed to know more. I needed to confirm everything I suspected and maybe discover what else was still hiding behind her lies. I started with our phone records. We shared a cell plan. I had rarely checked it before, trusting that the numbers were mostly friends and family. But the number I pulled up now had over 300 texts exchanged in the last month alone. Same number every time, usually late at night. Often during the exact hours she said she was exhausted or sleeping. I copied the number and plugged it into a search engine. Nothing on the surface, but I checked it against her Facebook friends list and found a match. Chad M. That was Haley's husband. The man Alyssa had been with. The one in the truck. The one in the bed. I clicked through his profile. His face was smug, confident. Family pictures. Beach vacations. Barbecue selfies. Everything looked so normal. I scrolled further. He'd been tagged at Kendra's house a few weeks ago. Same truck parked out front. Different caption. Pool day with the crew. My stomach turned. That wasn't a random party. That was a rendezvous. Kendra had been helping cover for Alyssa. Maybe more than once. Maybe every time. I opened my banking app next. The bonus, $8,000, had hit 5 days ago. It was gone. Split across purchases I didn't recognize. Salon charges. Boutique shopping. Even 2 hotel transactions. One just 3 weeks ago. I Googled the name. A mid-tier hotel just outside city limits. Close to Kendra's neighborhood. She had told me she and Kendra took the girls for a spa night. My daughter never mentioned a hotel. I closed my laptop and just stared at the wall. Everything I had sacrificed, working overtime, skipping sleep, missing birthdays, had bought her freedom to betray me. The more I looked, the more I found. Each thread I tugged at unraveled something bigger. I checked our cloud photo backups, and there they were. A handful of hidden albums. Not locked, just untagged and unnamed. Buried. One album had 27 photos. None of them of the kids. All selfies. Her in different outfits. Lingerie. Low-cut dresses. Mirror shots. Half smiles and sultry looks. And in one of them, partially visible in the mirror behind her, a man's arm. Tattooed. Not mine. I wanted to break the screen. Instead, I closed the tab and stood up, breathing hard. I didn't want my kids to hear me fall apart. Later that night, after putting them to bed, I finally got a message from Haley again. "Are you okay?" I thought about what to say. No words felt right. I don't even know where to start. Me neither. I'm just empty. I can't stop thinking about what I saw. I want to scream. We messaged for a while. Not flirting, not venting, just two broken people try to sweep shattered glass into something that looked like understanding. She told me that Chad had denied it at first too. Tried blaming her. Said she'd overreacted. Called her crazy. They always say that. "I'm filing for separation," she wrote. "Not just for me, but for my daughter. She can't grow up thinking this kind of betrayal is normal." I sat with that. I hadn't even begun to think about lawyers or custody or any of that. My head was still a mess. But one thing became clear. This wasn't just one mistake. This was months, maybe years of deceit. Alyssa didn't just betray our marriage. She manipulated me, stole from me, endangered our kids' stability. I opened a new note on my phone and began listing every detail I'd uncovered. The phone number, Chad's. Hotel stays. Photo albums. Kendra's involvement. Cash withdrawals. Fake spa weekends. Facebook messages. I didn't know why I was documenting it so thoroughly. Maybe part of me wanted proof. Maybe I just needed control of anything. At 1:17 a.m., I got another text from Alyssa. "I'm coming home tomorrow. We need to talk." I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, double-checked the front lock, and stood in my kids' bedrooms for a long while, watching them sleep. They didn't know what was happening. They didn't know the woman they called Mommy had already blown up our family. They just knew I was here. And for now, that would have to be enough. The sun was up, but the house was still. The kind of stillness that comes before a storm, or right after one has passed, and everything's just waiting to be rebuilt or declared a total loss. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch and stared at the door. When Alyssa finally walked in the next morning, I swear the air changed. She was in the same leggings and hoodie she wore when I dropped her off. Her sunglasses were perched on her head like they had a right to be there, and her purse swung from her shoulder like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't detonated our lives just 24 hours earlier. She froze when she saw me. I didn't say anything at first, just looked at her. She slowly closed the door behind her and stood in the entryway like she didn't recognize the house anymore. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she was still caught in whatever fantasy life she'd been living with Chad. "Where are the kids?" she asked, voice low. "Upstairs," I said. "They're fine. Unlike everything else." She flinched. We stood there in silence. I watched her eyes, the way they avoided mine, the way her fingers nervously twisted around the strap of her purse. Guilty movements, tics of someone who knew the game was over. "You saw Haley's messages," she said. Not a question. "I did," I replied. "I saw a lot more than that, actually." She tried to keep calm, tried to summon the same icy composure she used during our arguments. The kind where she could twist my words and flip the blame. "Not this time. You lied," I said. "You lied for months. To me. To the kids. You made me feel crazy when I asked questions, like I was overthinking. Meanwhile, you were fucking him in someone else's bed." Her face crumpled slightly, but she didn't speak. "I worked. I missed time with my family to keep this house running, to pay bills, to give you a good life. And you used that time to sneak around like some bored teenager looking for attention." She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. "You don't get to talk yet." Her mouth closed again. I took a deep breath, pacing the living room. I wasn't yelling, not really, but the emotion in my voice made every word crackle. I saw the texts, the hotel bookings, the photos you didn't even bother to hide. You used our daughter as an excuse. You let her sleep at Kendra's just to buy yourself time with him. She broke then. Her shoulders shook, and she sat on the edge of the couch, burying her face in her hands. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. It started with a message. I was lonely. I felt invisible. You were always working, always tired. Don't you dare try to make this my fault." She looked up, eyes wet and red. "I'm not. I'm just." "You are," I snapped. "You're twisting it, like you always do. Like every time I asked where you were, and you said I was paranoid. Like when you said Chad was just a friend. Like when you told me you were happy." "I thought I was," she said. "But things changed. We changed. We didn't change. You changed. I stayed loyal. I stayed present. I stayed faithful when I could have done the same damn thing. Then why didn't you? She whispered. Because I loved you. I shouted. Because I believed in what we built. Because I didn't want to be the kind of person who breaks their kid's home into pieces. She sobbed, and for a second, I almost felt something resembling sympathy. Almost. But then I remembered the photos. The hotel. Haley, standing in her bedroom with her child in her arms, seeing the most devastating thing a person can see. Her partner betraying her in her own bed. Do you know what she saw? I asked. Do you even understand what you did to her? You thought she was your friend. She had her baby in her arms when she walked in on you too. Alyssa's sobs deepened, but I didn't stop. You didn't just cheat. You shattered 4 lives. Mine, hers, your kids. And you didn't even have the guts to tell me. You were going to keep lying. I was scared, she said. I didn't know how to stop. Every time I tried, he'd pull me back in. He understood me. Don't talk to me about him. Ever. She nodded, shaking. I want you out of the house, I said, cold now. Today. She looked up, stunned. What? You can't just. This is my house. My name is on the mortgage. I've paid every damn bill while you played house with another man. I don't care where you go. Kendra's? Chad's? Hell, sleep in the car. But you're not staying here. What about the kids? We'll figure that out. But they stay with me for now. You'll see them, but not tonight. Not until I decide they're ready. She stood slowly, wiped her face, her hands trembling. I didn't want to lose you, she said. I was just so lost. You didn't lose me, I said. You gave me away. I walked upstairs and gathered her things in silence. No slamming, no throwing, just mechanical motion. One bag, then another, then her phone charger. I left it all by the front door. When I came back down, she was still standing there. She picked up her bags and turned, hesitating at the door. Jack, she said, voice small. Please don't hate me. I looked her in the eyes, the same eyes I once thought I'd grow old beside, and said, I don't hate you, but I'll never trust you again. And I can't love someone I can't trust. The door clicked shut behind her. And just like that, it was over. Or at least, the beginning of the end had finally come. The first night without her was the worst. Not because I missed her, not because I doubted my decision, but because the silence screamed so loud I couldn't think straight. Every empty room felt haunted, not by her, but by the life I thought we had. The illusion. The kids asked questions. Of course they did. Where's Mom? My son asked as I tucked him in. She had to go somewhere for a little while, I said, forcing calm into my voice. When is she coming back? I don't know, buddy. He didn't cry, but he turned his face to the wall and stayed quiet. That was worse. My daughter was too young to understand, but I could see her picking up on the tension. She clung to me like I was the last safe thing in the world. Maybe I was. That terrified me more than anything else. By the 3rd day, I was on autopilot. Get the kids dressed. Pack lunches. Drop-offs. Work. Pickups. Dinner. Baths. Bedtime. Repeat. I was functioning barely. But I wasn't feeling anything yet. It was like my body had gone into lockdown, and my mind was stuck somewhere between heartbreak and cold calculation. And then the bank alerts started rolling in. Charges I didn't recognize. Hotel rooms. Spa days. Designer clothes. Lunches for 2 at upscale restaurants we'd never gone to together. $8,000 bonus, gone. My paycheck, drained. She'd spent it all before the truth came out. That night I sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, bank statement spread out, and I just broke. Not loudly. Not with screaming. I didn't throw anything. I didn't punch walls. I just sat there with my head in my hands and cried in silence, like a man who'd finally reached the edge. I worked so hard for that money. Missed birthday dinners. Skipped date nights. Canceled weekend trips because we needed to save. And she'd used it all to fuel an affair. Luxury on my dime. While I budgeted groceries and prayed the car wouldn't break down, she was paying for hotel sheets to get tangled in with someone else's husband. I called a lawyer the next day. I had to know my options. Custody. Divorce. Finances. Protection. His name was Anthony Voss. Straightforward guy. Clean desk. No fake smiles. I liked him immediately. Jack, he said, flipping through the paperwork I brought. You're not the first guy who's been blindsided like this, and, unfortunately, You won't be the last. But you do have rights. We'll go after joint custody, possibly full if she's unstable or if this other guy is around your kids. And we'll freeze the accounts today." I nodded, still numb. "There's a road out of this," he said. "It's long. It sucks. But you'll get through it." I believed him. Mostly. Alyssa tried to call that night. I didn't answer. She texted instead. "Can we talk about the kids?" I responded. "Send me your availability. I'll go through the lawyer." Cold. Maybe too cold. But I had nothing left to give her. She replied, "I didn't mean to hurt them. Or you. Please don't shut me out." I didn't write back. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about the aftermath, what she'd left me to deal with. The kids. The debt. The constant second-guessing of every memory we ever made. Haley messaged me the following afternoon. "How are you holding up?" I didn't know how to answer that. I typed, "Barely," then deleted it. Eventually I wrote, "1 hour at a time." She replied, "Same." She'd filed for divorce already. Said Chad had tried to come back, that he begged. Cried. Promised therapy. Promised change. "I don't care anymore," she said. "He crossed a line I'll never unsee." We talked for a while. About the kids. About shared pain. About the strange comfort in knowing someone else understood it completely. She said something that stuck with me. You didn't deserve this. But now you know who she really is. That's a gift, even if it feels like a curse. A week later, I dropped the kids off at a neutral spot for Alyssa to visit them. She hugged them like she'd been gone for years. My daughter clung to her. My son didn't say much. He looked at me for permission before stepping forward. I stayed in the car. She didn't look at me. Good. The next few months would be a slow unraveling of a life I used to believe in. Splitting assets. Signing papers. Explaining to 2 children why mom and dad didn't live in the same house anymore. And yet, somewhere in the rubble, I started to feel something unexpected. Relief. The truth was brutal, but it was also a kind of freedom. No more guessing. No more lies. No more wondering if I was crazy every time she smiled too long at a text or said she was going out with the girls. The mask was off. The illusion shattered. Now all that was left was the work. The rebuilding. For weeks, I'd started every morning the same. Stomach tight, heart heavy, the ghost of her betrayal sitting on my chest like an unwanted weight. But one Tuesday morning, I woke up, and she wasn't the first thing I thought about. It wasn't peace exactly, but it was the beginning of space. And I clung to it. I started running again. Nothing long, just a few blocks around the neighborhood after I dropped the kids at school. It cleared the fog, made me feel like I was reclaiming something. My body, my breath, my routine. For the first time in years, I wasn't rushing home to prove I was a good husband. I was moving forward for myself. The house didn't feel like ours anymore. It felt like mine. At first, that made me feel lonely. Then it felt empowering. I started purging, not just her things, but all the clutter that reminded me of the life we used to pretend we had. The fake smiles and photos. The perfume bottles on the sink. The lingerie she never wore for me. Gone. In their place, I started building something new. The kids helped me paint the living room. My daughter chose a light blue. My son voted for dark green. We compromised. We hung new pictures. Ones of just the 3 of us, smiling at the zoo, ice cream on our faces, no tension in the background. Real moments. No filters. Therapy helped. I resisted at first. Told myself I didn't need to sit on a couch and talk to a stranger. But after one particularly hard drop-off with Alyssa, where she hugged me too long and cried into my shirt like she was the victim, I realized I was still carrying too much. So I booked a session, then another. It wasn't about venting. It was about clarity. My therapist, Nora, had a gift for asking the right questions without judgment. What do you think you lost, Jack? What did she take from you, really? Who are you when you're not surviving? I didn't always have the answers, but just sitting there, saying the truth out loud, helped me remember I wasn't crazy. I wasn't weak. I was wounded, but healing. The kids were my anchor. Some nights, I'd lie awake thinking about what they'd seen, what they'd remember, whether they'd blame me, or worse, whether they'd someday repeat the cycle. So I talked to them, not about the affair, not in detail, but about love, and trust, and honesty. I told them that grown-ups make mistakes, big ones, but that we always have the power to choose who we become afterward. I made them promises, not like the ones their mother broke, real ones. I'll always be honest with you. You'll never have to wonder if I'm here. No matter what happens, I'll show up. And I kept those promises. One night, I took them out for pizza. Simple place. Red booths. Paper napkins. Cheap toys and quarter machines. They laughed. Loud. Carefree. In the middle of their giggles, I felt it joy. Not the kind that feels forced or rare. The kind that sneaks up on you and reminds you that life can be good again, even after everything. I looked at them across the table, sauce on their chins, talking over each other, and I thought, this is my family now. Not broken, just different. Haley and I kept in touch. Not constantly, just check-ins here and there. One evening, she sent a picture of her and her daughter building a blanket fort. We're getting better, she wrote. So are we, I replied. We never talked about our exes anymore, just the future. Sometimes I wondered what it would be like to take her out. For coffee, for more, but I didn't push it. We were still healing, still rebuilding ourselves, and that deserved time. If it happened, it would be real. No secrets, no lies. We'd earned that much. The divorce finalized 5 months after it all fell apart. I didn't cry at the courthouse. Neither did she. We sat across from each other like two strangers who used to know each other well. She said she was sorry. Again, I nodded. There was nothing left to say. Walking out of that building, I didn't feel broken. I felt light. 6 months later, I got a promotion. New role. More pay. Better hours. The boss called it a recognition of resilience. I just called it a fresh start. I used some of the bonus to take the kids to the mountains. No Wi-Fi. Just trails, a cabin, board games, and quiet stars. My daughter found a fox track in the snow. My son learned how to build a fire. I stood on the porch one night, beer in hand, watching them laugh through the window, and I let myself feel proud. Not because I've been perfect, but because I didn't give up. There's still hard days. Holidays. Birthdays. The occasional photo memory that punches me in the gut. But they don't control me anymore. I control how I move forward. One night, I found my son writing in a notebook. What's that? I asked. He shrugged. Just writing stuff like you do. I didn't know he'd noticed. What kind of stuff? He looked up at me, his voice quiet. About how I don't want to be like mom or her boyfriend. I want to be like you. That did it. That broke me in the best way. So here I am, a year out from the worst day of my life. Still healing, still learning, still showing up. And every single day, I remind myself, the truth didn't destroy me. It freed me. Thank you for watching. I hope you have learned a lot. Please subscribe, and like your support means a lot.